She actually just nibbled some of his shed on his booty there. Oh, you can see there? That's bad. Just spray to the head. Okay. Hey guys, what's up? Today we're going to be talking about Asus and Dell, my two Ackie monitors, and some of the breeding issues I've been having. If you've been following the channel for a little while, you know that I've been having some issues with the two. They are the pair that I successfully bred this past summer and have the clutch right in that enclosure of. So they have successfully bred before, but lately they just have not been getting along. The female Dell has really not been wanting to breed, which is typical. They won't breed unless they know it's time. But she's been gravid for quite some time, so that does alarm me in some way. But I will really what I really kind of want to show you is sort of the behavior between the two. I think I allowed Asus too much time in Dell's enclosure when I've attempted to breed him, because he's really rubbed his scent on the items inside of there, the pieces of wood and stuff, to mark his territory, and now I think he thinks it's his territory, which has sort of led to some more aggressive behavior. I wouldn't say really fighting, but more warning signs between the two. They are just not very comfortable in each other's presence like this past summer. But anyway, I just want to show you guys what's been going on. We'll talk about it and talk more about what I think is happening. Before anything, though, make sure you check that lower right-hand corner. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell as well for all the latest updates. And let's get to the video. Okay, so let me grab Asus out of here. He's been sort of troublesome to get lately. He's been doing a lot of burrowing, but he's right here finally, so I can finally get him out. I was actually going to do this as the last video, but he just would not come out for me, so I kind of switched everything up. So I'm going to put Asus on the opposite side of Dell in Dell's enclosure. I don't like them immediately seeing each other, because then that usually leads to more immediate aggressive behavior. They kind of both have to warm up and see each other first, long distance, and then it kind of gets a little bit better, although it's overall still not that great. So I'm going to open this side as well, just for when the two kind of meet each other. I want to be able to get in there. They have good grips, so if, they latch on each other, they can do it pretty tight, which is not that great. But I can kind of try to get in there and kind of try to separate them. But I'll show you exactly what I mean, especially if Asus wants to come over here. Okay, so Asus is finally making his way over to Dell. I had to cut that because he was actually exploring her hide a little bit. But I believe they know each other's presence right now, and you'll kind of see the behavior I mean. So I'm going to give myself a little more room because this usually doesn't go too well. Dell is actually the aggressor for the most part. This is very typical. This is very typical of what you would see at the start of mating behavior. And this usually beginning-wise goes fine, but then it just kind of escalates because I think just Dell doesn't really want to breed, and Asus gets a little frustrated, so they sort of get on each other's nerves, and that leads to, I guess, the negative interactions and stuff. So you'll see what I mean. You can see that, Asus will be trying to get on either side to try to breed, and Dell really won't allow him to, and that's kind of, like I said, where the problems sort of start. So let's focus on them for a minute. Watch them actually breed now, though. Watch them, actually successfully do it, and then it just makes me, a liar. This is actually going a lot better than the way it usually goes. I don't like how they're going in the hide, though. Because I can't really see what's going on up front. Because usually starts out with little nibbles and stuff like that. But you can see how Asus is trying to pin up her back feet to get under. And she's not really welcoming that too much. Although, like I said, it is going a little bit better than usual. She might actually let him. I could just kind of tell her behavior is a little bit more reserved than what's typical. But it could go either way still, so let's give it a second. Let's see what happens here. I would really like this to work out, though. It just kind of does seem like Dell is a lot more reserved. Tail is going, though. Usually if her tail, which is the one doing a lot of the movement, or was doing a lot of the movement, now she's getting very defensive. You can see in the tail sort of behavior there, when it kind of gets quick and stuff like that, that's defensive. She's not really welcoming this. So that's really what's going on here. I really want to know what's going on up front, though, because I can't see. And usually when she starts doing that, that's when she starts kind of nipping at Asus to get off. I might actually let it play out a little bit, because it does seem like they're fine right now. And the one thing you got to be sort of, you know, understanding of is that even a nip between the two of them, first of all, they're mostly always warning nips. And number two, their skin is very tough and very strong. You know, human skin, you kind of understand it's a little bit more fragile. But for them, like, if they get a nip from another Ackie, they can usually tolerate it pretty well and it won't draw any blood. So don't really worry too much about that if you're attempting this. I sometimes let some bites play out a little bit, see how it goes, but usually if it gets to that pretty quickly, that's not a great sign. But I'm going to kind of go in and check on that, and once they sort of come out and we can see more, we'll resume the video. So Asus is back out. This actually went a lot better than it usually has been as of late, because it usually ends with a couple nips between the two and a couple warning signs, you know, of back off and get away. But it actually kind of just went to Asus giving up because Dell wasn't, you know, allowing them to breed. I might actually let them stay in there for a little bit because this is actually quite the improvement. It's actually funny that I'm recording this because I didn't expect it to sort of go this well, although it's not that well, if that makes sense. But I'll see if maybe, you know, it works out. You sometimes need to give them some time. Even when I first bred them early on in the summer, or yeah, I think it was early on in the summer, they didn't, actually, they went at it pretty quickly, I think. But sometimes it does take a little bit. So, but you can see some defensive behavior there from Dell. And now Asus is going to try again, but this might be where it kind of leads to a warning nip or something, because Dell is doing very defensive type movements. Alright, so Asus is trying again in the log. I'm not really a fan of this right now because I can't really see him. And Dell has already kind of made an aggressive move at Asus, giving him a quick nibble on the feet. That's the most worrisome area to see them bite each other because their feet are quite fragile compared to the rest of their body. It does look like Asus got off, though. I do want to quickly say, if you're kind of going through this yourself, trying to breed and stuff, and you're worried about them getting aggressive with each other and stuff, usually most of the time, like I said earlier, it's just warning signs and nothing serious. But one thing you can do is, I always kind of have a spray bottle ready. I have to fill it up a little bit more, because they usually release if you spray them kind of on the face. So it does look like there might be one more interaction between the two. She might just dart under there, though. I'm just going to try this one last shot here to sort of show off some of the behaviors that are going on here. See if anything comes of it. I don't want Asus to get hurt. It's usually Asus who gets hurt. You know, you'd think the male would get a little bit more aggressive, but Dell is very territorial in here. See how she's kind of arching the tail and bumping them back? That's kind of what I mean by that. But if she gets annoyed, she'll give him a little nip. I kind of just want to show that, just, you know, to illustrate what I mean. Obviously without Asus getting hurt or anything. Like I said, it's usually always like a warning bite. It's never too, like, aggressive or something you should be overly concerned about. But I just kind of want to show that behavior off if I could see it. Usually them meeting face-to-face like that is when sort of Dell gets aggressive. It does not look like, kind of like how, you know, they say, like, don't look a dog in the eyes or something if they're aggressive or something. That almost holds true, I feel like, for Ackie monitors. Whenever they kind of meet face-to-face, they usually, one of them usually kind of takes offense to that. So I usually see a lot of the warning bites and stuff happen when they sort of meet face-to-face and stuff like that. So that's always when I'm most cautious. You can see she's checking out the tail there. Sometimes she gives them a little nip on the tail. I just really want to see this behavior, but like I said, I don't want anything bad to come of it, but it usually isn't that way. So let's just see what happens here. You can see it looks like Dell is trying to tell him to get lost. So she actually just nibbled some of his shed on his booty there. Oh, you can see there? That's bad. So you just spray to the head. Let me get... Alright, well now that that is over, sorry you guys kind of got lost there in the commotion. The one thing I don't tolerate too well is when they go after the toes. I know you really couldn't see too much, especially after the bite, but she got him on the toe. You could kind of see that a little bit before I kind of panned away from the shot. But, you know, they're pretty hardy. Their skin's pretty tough. I just get very cautious about the toes because they're pretty fragile. Asus is fine, though. Like I said, they're always warning bites. They're really never truly aggressive. You would really tell if it was an aggressive bite. But it's more of, hey, get out of my territory. That's more what she's trying to tell him. But he's totally fine. He's just climbing around. Back in his enclosure, you can see he's using his toes. Perfectly normal. Totally normal Asus stuff. So, he's fine, but that's what I'm dealing with, guys. So if you have any advice for me, you know, this is a community, no one person, the expert here. We always share information on this channel, so definitely leave me a comment if you have any advice on this stuff, if you've dealt with this before. It's obvious that Dell is just not ready to breed yet, and that's totally fine. It just is a little concerning to me that she's been gravid for longer than what I would expect, and, you know, you can see Asus rubbing his scent there on his own territory, but that's basically what he does to Dell's stuff, and that was kind of my concern. But yeah, basically, let me know your thoughts, guys. I just really wanted to show some Ackie communication off, what they've been doing, sort of the breeding ritual. Definitely was a good education lesson to put on YouTube, so at least you guys got to see that. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed, and hit that bell as well. I will see you tomorrow, Sunday, I think, unless I might do some work, so I don't know, but maybe live stream. If not, Monday or Wednesday for a video. If I don't live stream Sunday, I'll do live stream Tuesday. More people showed up anyway for that, so just pay attention to what I put out there. Alright, guys, see ya.